Hey everybody, this is Brian from pnbhomesteading.com, and we're going to do a little walk around the yard today. We're going to do a little tour of what the garden's looking like this year. It's third week of June, so I want to kind of show you what the tomato plants are doing and various other plantings we got going on in the yard. So we can get the camera and go for a walk. Alright. Okay, so we're going to go for a little walk here around the yard, a little urban homestead. Kind of show you some stuff. Here I wanted to show you the snap peas we got going here. This is one of the hanging little kind of trellises that I put up that we kind of fold up to harvest our peas off of. But you can see there's a lot of peas there, so they're doing really well. We've had kind of a rainy, wet week this week again. It's I think third week of June, or ending third week. Or actually, it's the end of the second week, I believe. Yeah, and then third week's just about to begin. So, somewhere around there. I never know the dates. I just look at the plants and let them tell me if they're healthy or not. Let's go over here. Here's some of our clover patch that we let grow up. And feed the bees and the other little pollinators. They seem to like that. Hummingbirds kind of come around. They get in there in that red clover, and then they jump over here to my tomato plants. You can see got the little squash here coming up. Little marigolds down there doing their job, feeding the slugs. That way they stay away from my tomato plants. And here's one of our, these three here are the Montesino F1 grape tomatoes. You can see they're setting fruit. There's some down here. And the hummingbirds have been jumping over in here and getting these pollinated. So there's fruit set on these. It's just we've had a really wet spring, and I'm hoping that we're gonna start drying out pretty soon. You can see back there on our one of our 4 peach trees we have here, they got some fruit set back there. They're starting to come on. I can show you the other peach tree, it's up above. You can see our squash down there, he's opening up. So we should start, hopefully seeing some summer squash showing up around here if we can actually get some nice dry weather. There's our little clover patch in our backyard that used to be a lawn. And I trim this, chop and drop, so that way our dogs can run through here. Use this as their bathroom area. And you can see our roses, and with all the moisture we've been having, let me take a walk over here to the roses. You can see that they're really getting beat down with all this wet, rainy weather we've had. We're losing a lot of our blooms. Oh, look at that, Mr. Spider. You blending in there, buddy? It's like a crab spider. And see, this is our. We're not seeing any fruit set on this one. We had a really heavy, fruit set on this Asian pear last year, and I don't think I'm going to have any fruit set on this one because I didn't see any blooms. We had a really wet spring too, so I don't know if we even had this thing bloom. I can't remember. I have to look back at the video footage. That's the great thing about doing this YouTube channel, is I get to go back and watch my yard. And there's Mr. Bumble hanging out. Let's see, over this way, here's the other roses. Oh, and we have been getting strawberries in our front yard. We have a strawberry patch. We have like 4 strawberry patches here, and our front yard gets all that afternoon sun. So when it does get sunny here, it's been warming that up. So we've been getting strawberries. We get about a quart, I think, every week off of the small front patch we have. And we have another patch right over here around the corner. This one here hasn't gotten ripe yet, so we got a lot of fruit set. But they're starting to turn. I think we've gotten 1 or 2 out of here yet, but we have to keep an eye on them because we, here in the Pacific Northwest, we get a lot of slug pressure. There's one of the tomato plants. This is a bunch of little wildflowers down there starting to bloom. Let's see. Up here, got some more tomatoes. There's a mint. It's doing well. Got a lot of this. The little robin that was up there in that nest, she's taken off now, and the babies are all flown off. So it's just an empty nest. Sort of like with Paul and I. There's one of the sunflower islands. These things were getting decimated by slugs last week, so I had to put out some sluggo. Some people don't like to use that stuff, but you know, I want to have a yard that actually looks good, and not just a bunch of slugs crawling around in my mulch. Let's go up here to upper garden boxes. You might want to see these. We've got our nasturtium. It's starting to bloom. You know, these are really good. They got a nice peppery taste. You just pick these off, have them in salads. You know, you can also eat the leaves, put those in salads. So what Paul and I do is come up here and we can trim off a bunch of these. We take a bunch of these and stick them in our salads. That gives it a nice peppery flavor. Here's some of our mammoth clover up here. See the bees flying around. We did eat the red tomato from last week. The one red tomato there. Looks like another one's starting to turn, so maybe this week we'll get some more sun and we'll have some more to eat. And here's some more of our tomatoes in the upper garden box. You see they've got really healthy, thick stalks. You know, these things won't tip over. Got our little marigolds down here, buried in the clover, getting eaten by the slugs, which kind of that's their purpose. I'd rather have them eat the slugs than get all my tomatoes. And get my tomatoes before I get to have them. Here's some more tomato. Got our salmon berry here. Haven't seen any berries on there. I don't know if we got anything on the goji's yet. Oh, there's a goji. Down there. There's probably some more underneath. Haven't seen any yet. There's another fig. There's some more tomatoes in the upper box we got the other side. And these are really thick. I love these. I have to come up here and reposition them a couple of times during the week to layer this new growth so it gets higher. I don't know which one this is. Let's see, what is that? That's the pink boar. I think all these pink boar, they've got a weird structure. And it's like they don't seem to grow. They seem to want to lay down and then grow up. I've noticed that on all the pink boars so far. There's a couple other ones over here. Look at this tomatillo. Got, you know, the little paper shell forming on all these. These are going pretty good. What's over here? There's some more beans. Got some beans. These are pretty much all these red bush beans. I've got them all throughout all the different yards. Looks like they're getting some slug pressure on these over here. You can see the snail trail slug slime. You have to throw some sluggo over here. And here's the long box along the fence. You can see there's our peas. We come by here and grab a few of these. And our pugs, they love to eat peas. Let's see, there's another tomatillo. So then up in this box we got, you know, rotational. Got tomato, tomatillo, tomatillo, tomato, blah, blah, blah. Kind of all the way down. I know this makes entertaining video when I say the blah, blah, blah. So, you know, got the fruit set back there. So we should, you know, I was surprised. I didn't know how well things were going to do in this box this year, because last year was the new compost and I didn't have a chance to really get the microbiological activity started in it, because I just kind of threw some clover in with the plants that I had, and they were all pretty yellowish, and you know, they didn't look too healthy. And I don't like to amend anything, you know, and I wasn't brewing compost tea at that time, so I wasn't able to really dump that in. So I kind of just threw some organic fertilizer in there with them and hope for the best. And we got a few tomatoes last year out of it, but this year, man, we should, if we get some warm weather, we should have some nice production on these tomatillos. I mean, look at this guy. Just this one alone, I mean, look at that, and it's like, look at all that fruit we're going to have on that. And, you know, look at all these peas. I love getting these things in my lunch. Take those to work. Make all the guys at work jealous. Because they're sitting there snacking on potato chips, and I'm sitting there snacking on nice, healthy, homegrown, organic, beyond organic, you know, veggies. And I've got, you know, bags and bags of these things at home. Paula came out and harvested, I think, you know, at least a quart bag full of peas. They go in my lunch. Let's go down here. And here's our Granny Smith apple. Got a couple of Granny Smith apples on this one this year. So, you know, up on that tree up there, you can see them up there. And that branch And a couple over there. So this is the first time we've had really a good fruit set on this one. We've got 3 comfrey bushes around it. I've been chopping dropping for 2 years on that one. So it should be doing pretty good now. Here's the potato tower. It seems to be going okay. We just definitely need to get some more sun. Get these guys to start banging along. And here's one of my Golden Delicious. I'm gonna let it self-prune. You can see there's a couple of apples down there on the ground for these little runt apples that kind of, the tree will self-prune itself once it sees that the fruit's not going to produce good. So like this one here, I bet this one here is going to probably be a self-pruner, because you can see that he's quite a ways behind his little brethren here on the other branches. But I'll thin these down to where, this tree is going to have maybe 5, 6 at the most on this upper top here, because it's really tipping the top of this tree over. Too heavy for this second year tree. So we'll thin that out. And then we got our currants. You can see there's still a lot of currants left on this, even after the birds come through here. And you can see they're starting to turn red. This one over here. There's one here. I'm kind of pick this one, let you guys see what it looks like. Let's see, I'll squish it open because you can see they got a lot of seeds in them. Some people don't like that, but I do love these. They got a nice kind of tart taste. They're really good. There's some more over here. There's the other potato tower. You can see they're starting to come along. I mean, look at this guy. That guy's ready to be buried up to the next level already. And these other ones are starting to catch up. So if we get some warm weather, should really, I think we'll be able to put this next layer in, fill it in, and get the next one on top. And hopefully, July we can do. If I do two layers of those a month, by September, I should have pretty much all 7 layers on there. And then we'll really get to see how much production we can get out of that small square foot gardening. So here's the tomatoes in the grow bags. We'll do the video separate on that each week, just so we can track the progress. And we got our, these are like Cascadia peas. They're starting to produce. So we're seeing, we got a lot of flowers on these, and we've ate our first few of these. There's one there hanging. You can see it. There's some over here. We got our mammoth red clover back here growing up. We got all of our little spinach plant. God, he's still going along. This is one of the ones that came from the inside of the grow tent under the house. And I just decided to throw him out here, and he kind of took off, doing his own thing. There's our cucumbers down there. There's our squash. You can see it's starting to really kick in over here in that box. There's some over here. That's our summer squash. And back there we've got some more summer squash. It's kind of growing in. And that one there, you might see that right there, I believe was from our Halloween pumpkins that I took and threw out here and let rot over the winter. So we'll see what happens to him. There's some more peas. Those are some more of our snow peas. We do love peas here. That's the trellis. These here are the Monte Cristo beans. They're starting to grow in from behind and get up on the trellis. And then these are going to be what we actually take, and we save these for seed as well as fresh cooking. And I've mentioned in another video, Paula has this way she cooks these, to where she puts, she sautés them, and some, I don't know if it's olive oil or something like that, but then she takes them and then she bakes them and puts garlic, or not, yeah, I think she puts some garlic in the saute, and then she puts Parmesan cheese on top and then bakes them in the oven. Gosh, those are good. I'm looking forward to having those. And we usually get, with the amount that I grow here in the yard, we usually get, I think, 5 or 6 quart bags for freezing. She blanches them and then freezes them. And then we have that for the winter. That's always good. I think we just finished our last bag. And it's, almost July now. There's another one of the Montesino. I don't see any fruit set on him. There's another tomato back there. Tomatoes, various things. And of course there's an apple. I don't have any fruit set on him. I think that's the September Fuji. Or is it September Wonder? Let's see. Super red Fuji. Oh, okay. There's some tomatoes. Ooh, look at that. There's a raspberry. Oh, man. Look at that. Oh, is good. I'm gonna have to get back there today and find out if I got more before the pugs get them. That's their favorite hunting ground back there for, raspberries. Okay, this is our columnar apple. I mentioned in a video a week or so ago that we had some fruit set on here, and so now you can start to see it. There's one here. There's two there. Let's see. Any more up there? This is only the second year we've had this one planted, so I was surprised. I don't know if there's any fruit set on that one over there. I don't see any. I had to trim that. That one was the one I was surprised actually came back. The whole top of it died in a winter, last winter. So I cut it down to the nub, and that's all new growth, coming up through the last year. So that's pretty impressive. And here's another little golden delicious. He's got a little brown spot on him, so I sprayed him with some foliar feeding yesterday with the compost tea. See if I can. You can see there's like some skanky looking apples here, but we'll see what happens. I got so many apple trees in the yard that I just try to keep them going and get the health of them. So I've been feeding him compost tea down below, as well as spraying the leaves. So we'll see what happens with him. Let's see, here's some peas. I know this might get kind of rhetorical and boring, but I want to give you guys a full tour. We have a nasturtium growing through here, so we can actually pick these. That's part of what we do. We grow the nasturtium down below, and then when the peas die off because of the heat, we have the nasturtium growing up this trellis, and we use that for our salads. So let's see, got some more peas over here. There's all our tomatoes in that box. They're doing very well. We have squash down below in there. There's some tomatillos back in here as well. So we got our squash going. Looks like it's really taken off. And we got this clover here, kind of hiding the squash. So I like that competitive growing pressure. So eventually what we'll do is we'll take these wire mesh off, because once they get to a certain stage, the dogs won't run in there because they think it's just a big wall of greenery. And there's some tomatoes over here. Oh, look at the stalks on this sucker. This thing's a beast. We're going to have so many tomatoes out of just this one box. It's going to be incredible. And we got some more peas back there. And here's our bamboo towers. You can see we've got the cucumbers coming up here. These things are really hardy looking. Look at those guys. I've been feeding these compost tea too, just to see what happens. And then this is the dill. So I'm intermixing the dill with my cucumbers, so that way when I harvest my cucumbers, I just pick some dill. We can mix that together. Paula makes a dill cucumber dressing that we put on our salads. It's pretty good. She's a wonderful cook. I'm so lucky to have her. We've got some more cabbage here. We can saute that this week for our collard green substitute. Here's some more tomatillos in this other box. You can see those. Here's some peas. We got some more along that whole bottom box back there. We have the Monte Cristo beans growing. There's some squash in this box. This here is the Waltham butternut squash. You can see him starting to grow in back here. And this one has it over here too, but looks like the nasturtium is going to start crowding him pretty quick, so I gotta probably try to pull that back. Let's go this way. That's our autumn olive, one of our autumn olive bushes. Those feed the birds because they have a lot of small little berries on there. They're pretty good, but they're tart, and they're a pain to pick. There's one of our blueberry patches. You can see the blueberries on there. This one here is our Pink Wonder blueberry bush. I haven't seen any ripe blueberries yet. This year's been a real strange one for wet weather. And here's some of our thornless blackberries. Starting to really take off out the side. I have to tuck them in. These get pretty gangly. And there's some fruit set. So there's going to be one of the blackberries. There's some over here. So we harvest those and we make a fresh salad. We toss those in. Those taste really nice. There's one of Paula's hanging baskets. Some clover. That down there, that's going to be our new plant propagation bed. So I'm going to propagate, all of our huckleberries, currants, aronia berries. What else am I going to put in that thing? we're going to do some more of the, out in front we've got this variegated Regala. So I'm going to put some of that in there. I'm going to plant, I'm going to start about 20 of those, and I'm going to plant those throughout the yard. Those have a real nice variegated leaf, and they have a really beautiful pink bloom that comes out. And so I haven't finished this bed yet, so today, that's one of the projects for the Sunday here. I'm going to be hooking up the Galcon programmer, getting it all set up, putting in the drip lines. So that way when my nozzles, I've got some brass nozzles that I've ordered that I'll put along here, and then that'll be on the timer. So it'll spray out, you know, every 2 minutes or so. I have to determine how often I want to have it spray based on the media. So I basically got a sand media mix in there. I finished filling that in yesterday. So that way we'll see how fast it drains and keeps it moist, and then that way I'll determine how often I'll have it spray, so I can keep the leaves moist. That way they don't dry out, and they can actually establish the roots with the root hormone on them. That's a pretty good sized bed, and I can propagate quite a few bushes and plants in there. I think I'm going to space them at probably about 2 to 3 inches a piece, you know, between each one. And then the rows, I'll put like maybe 5 inches between each row. So that'll do that for our first year, because that'll propagate, you know, geez, I don't know, 50 plants. And then I'll up pot those once they get their roots into the 1 gallon pots, and then I'll stick those on the back hillside. So, well, that's kind of the tour for this week. Spin the camera around here so you guys can see my bearded face. Okay, so that's kind of the yard. You hear those little birds out there. Oh, I love this yard. Okay, so that's it for this week, guys. I'll post this video, and hopefully you guys will enjoy it. We're up to 6 subscribers on our channel now. I've got 312 views for my videos, and I've made a penny. So, you know, it's pretty exciting. All right, I'm going to talk to you guys later. This is Brian from pnbhomesteading.com, and I'll talk to you next week. All right, bye.